So today I'm going to share with you how you can get the absolute most out of your investment, out of this space, out of our time together. And I'm just celebrating you because you're watching this because you've made some sort of investment to work together. And I want you to get the results that you want, right? I am completely on your side. I've got your back, and I am going to hold you in this. And there are certain things that you can do to be the absolute best client you can be so you can show up and get the absolute most out of these spaces, right? Whether it's we're working one-on-one together or you're in a group program with me, let's see how you can be the absolute success story so that you get to the end of the one-on-one coaching sessions or package, or you get to the end of the group program and you are just celebrating, you are feeling like you've gotten so much out of it, and that you're one of those like real success stories. Like, I've been in other group containers, and there are sometimes this handful of women that seem to just be rocking it in that space. And it's not that it's wrong, we're not making it wrong if that's not you or that hasn't been you in the past. But there are ways that I'm going to share with you in a few moments of how you can step into that if you really want that. And so I'm inviting you into that space, and because we both have roles, right? Like, I'm here to help guide, and your role is to really show up for yourself here, right? To put in the energy, the time that you can, right? That feels good for you, but also to bring an openness or an attitude of, hey, I'm deciding that I am going to get the most out of this investment, right? Like, we both want that for you. We both want those results. So let's see how you can fully really step into that. And I coach the same, I can hold the same group program container or space, and people will have really different experiences. And sometimes that's because life happens and maybe you can't show up for whatever reason, and that's fine. If it's a group program, you can always go back and watch the modules or the recorded classes and get back into that energy at any time. But if you do have the space and life isn't throwing you like crazy curveballs, what I find is that clients do have really different results. So I coach the same, I show up the same in the group container, but there are certain people who seem to get more out of it than others. And so I really want you to be the one that also gets all of those good results. And actually, if it's all of you in the group program or it's all my one-on-one clients, then that just means that you're all expanding at the same time, me with you included. So this is all just really exciting. Okay. Yeah. So here is a couple of key things that I want to dive into. I'm going to explain it from the point of view of when I've been a client in certain programs, and also what I see as the coach as well. So number one is decide that you're going to get the absolute most out of this experience. Okay. So if you come into this space and you're going like, oh, I don't know if I'm like really going to get the most out of it, or maybe that wasn't a good investment, or yeah, I don't know, like I'm kind of committed, but okay, anyway, let's just stop that right now because I want you to decide that you will get exactly what you need. And it doesn't necessarily have to be paired with how much time that you're putting in. It could be that you watch one live session in a group program and you get exactly what you need from the whole program, right? Or it could be that you watch every module and every lesson and it's exactly what you need. It could be that you watch it a year later and it's exactly what you need. So the point is that you're deciding that this is the place that you need to be and that you will get what you need because you've made the investment, you've made the time. So you might as well really show up and get yourself on board and get all parts of you on board to be ready and open for this experience. And I'll give you an example of when I was in a group program. So I spent maybe like $6,500 on a business program, like a 4-month program with a group of like 6 other women. And I was really excited at first. And then I started to nitpick things that weren't quite right about it. And then I got into a space where I was like, I don't really know like if this is the right space for me. And a good indication also of that is like if other people are really getting results around you, but you're the one that's not, then it could be that it's a pattern coming up inside of you rather than the actual space that's being held. And I will get into that in step 3 when we talk about identifying your own personal pattern. But so yeah, I was kind of like sort of in and out of this container, and that's not to say that every coach is going to be amazing for you or is going to resonate with you. Like there may be a time where you need to have some discernment and go, okay, maybe this isn't where I need to be right now. But if you have this gut feeling or you have this sense that this is going to be for you, then there is so much potentiality of what you can get out of our work together. And so deciding and redeciding that this is what you want and that you will get what you need will serve you so well, and opening yourself up to be allowing yourself to receive that. So another group program that I was in, I had all these things start to happen to me. So I started the program and then I got COVID and I couldn't join for like a couple of weeks, and then the time zone changed and I missed like a whole hour of the live call, and then something else happened, I can't remember, but I was definitely making the program wrong. And then I started to notice my pattern, right? Because it had happened in the previous small group program that I'd had, and now it was happening again in the big group program. And so in the big group program, my coach called me out, or I actually called myself out, and I was like, I'm finding all the things wrong with this program. Like, this isn't working for me. And then she was able to coach me through it. And then you know what? Like, I became one of the success stories in that program. I was one of the women who showed up the most, who brought my A game. And I was like, I'm getting exactly what I need out of this program. And it's really empowering because it's also handing over to you the power of your own personal growth journey. So step number 1, decide that you're going to get exactly what you need. And if you start to waver in this, just keep coming back and redeciding that this works. And you are going to find that your system is going to be way more open to receiving exactly the information that you need. Okay, so step number 2 is get really clear and focused on your goal or your intention for being here. And I'm in a group program, for example, I offer that into the workbook and say, hey, cool, like, why are you here? If we're working one-on-one, that becomes part of your commitment that you work with for yourself, and reoccurringly over and over again, bringing that commitment in. So get really clear on what it is that you want to see. And you can do some journaling around this. You can talk to other people about this. You're going to use this in the space. But always keep coming back to that clear intention, that clear goal. And it could be that you want a very specific result. Or it could be that you just want an internal shift, right? And both are beautiful, or both might happen together. But figure out why you're here and what it is that you want. Okay, the third thing is identify your pattern, which I've already started to touch on. So my pattern was to get defensive and angry. So I'm more of a like move towards person, which means I'm more of a fighter, right? In the fight flight sort of category. And look, we're not always in boxes. I'm going to flight sometimes. You're going to do both sometimes. So you can just observe your patterns in the different programs or experiences that you're in. But start to notice what your specific pattern is and how you hide in these spaces. So for example, a really classic one is to just stop. Like in a group program, it's easier to hide than it is one-on-one, right? So that can be some of the benefit of one-on-one. Like if you tend to be somebody who wants to avoid or wants to stop showing up, well, it's pretty hard to do that one-on-one. But in a group program, you can hide a bit easier. So notice if that is your pattern, and if you just stop turning up to calls, or you stop engaging in the content when it is something that you really want to do. It could be that you start to feel really anxious when you're sharing, and especially in front of other women. Maybe you overthink, maybe you overtalk, maybe you just, want to get stuck in your own story and overthink everything for like the first 15-20 minutes. That can be helpful to a point, but actually, really we want to get kind of down into the heart of it, right? So just notice if that's your pattern, and you can always try on different ways of being. Like if this is you, then you can try on taking a breath, recentering, and then just getting clear on what it is that you want to communicate, right? You're rewiring different ways that you're maybe blocking yourself from getting the absolute most out of this experience. Other things that can show up in a group program might be you don't want to make others feel bad in terms of your sharing. So in one-on-one coaching and in my group programs, I'm always encouraging you to celebrate, okay? Be seen celebrating, be seen in your pleasure, right? And celebrating your pleasure. That's not something that is very common. It's something really special in the work that I do. And it's really, really important that your nervous system starts to feel safe and celebrating being seen in pleasure. But of course it can come up like, oh, well, I don't want to be too much, or I don't want to like brag too much about my pleasure, because what if other people feel bad? It's like, cool, well, maybe that's a pattern that you're running. Like, how could you feel safe? How could you regulate your nervous system to go, hey, it's not actually about other people, but it's also about me? And in the same vein, it can be around like comparing yourself to other people in the program of, oh, wow, she's so much more further along, or look what she's experiencing, right? We're going to talk about all this. It's like, you can own your triggers. This is a safe space where you can own your triggers. If you're working one-on-one with me and you're triggered by me, I want to know about it, right? These are the things that we put out into the open, because they're probably the very thing, like this pattern is probably the very thing that's actually getting in your way of you getting what you want in life. So whether that's in your power, your pleasure, your intimacy, right? If this is what you're doing, if this is what's showing up in the one-on-one coaching, or it's showing up in the group program, then we really want to deal with it, right? Because it's going to have a dramatic impact on all the other areas of your life. Okay. Other things that clients have had is like overeating, not pushing the feelings away, and also making the container or making the program wrong. Okay. And I'll talk about how to work with that one if that one is starting to come up for you. So notice your own personal pattern, write it down, and then I also invite you to think about what is one thing that you can do to start to counteract that or start to rewire that. And it's just so good, because even saying yes to this work is already an invitation to work with some of your deepest patterns that is totally going to benefit you and help you in terms of where you want to get in life. Okay, so identify your pattern. Now 4 is know your specific edge of what you want to work with, right? So I have clients one-on-one who come back to me for package after package. In the group program, I'm going to offer an alumni opportunity, so there's an opportunity to come back every year. And so every year or every experience that you have, you get to work with a new edge. Okay, so maybe coming in for the first time into a group program, your edge is around getting live and sharing how you're feeling in front of a group of women. Like maybe that's like super scary and super edgy for you. And you know it'll feel a bit edgy because your nervous system is kind of like letting you know that it feels a little bit edgy, right? But the next time you come back, or like the next week you come back, maybe that edge has shifted and now you're working with a new edge, right? So every time in our expansion journey, we want to be pushing some of our edges of what feels uncomfortable, because that is right where the growth lies. And we're not going to blow your system out or overwhelm you. That's why we bring in pleasure to help regulate your nervous system, to help this feel all good. But you definitely want to be pushing an edge. And so I'll give you an example from me. I've been working with my coach for 1.5 years. So I'm on my 3rd cycle. I just finished my 3rd cycle with him. So my first cycle, I was pushing the edges of being a coach. I was pretty new to coaching, and I was just kind of figuring out how I could own that and be in my confidence and know that I was a great coach and what I did was awesome. And so that was really my edge. And so we worked with that, and that's what I got. That was my clear aim or my goal. I totally got that. The next round, life happened to me, and it was about my relationship. And it was all about pushing the edges of how compassionate I could be, how much I could forgive, which is where the program blossomed from. and yeah, and how much I could hold the craziness of the world, of COVID, of everything that was going on. It was like a full expansion of my edge of that. The next edge that I'm going to be working with is stepping into more of my power, more money, more abundance. So stepping into that more high level coach. And so that's really my edge at the moment. So you can stay in the same program or with the same coach, but you can also push your edges in that. And I'll also, let me just double check my notes here. Yeah, I'll bring it in here because, also check in if you need to communicate that in this context with me or with another program that you're in. Because, so for me, for example, with my coach, when I was pushing the edges of more expansion in my business and more money and becoming a more high-end coach, or how I envision that, that's not an edge that he's pushed. He's an incredible coach, but he hasn't pushed that edge for whatever reason. And so I had to have a really open conversation with him and be like, hey, I don't know if you're actually the right coach for me. Like, can you hold me in this? Is this something that you can actually do? Because I'm worried that because you haven't pushed this, then you won't be able to hold me. And he was like, no, I can hold this. Like, and I trust that he will tell me if he can't hold me, and I'll do the same for you. So if you're wanting to push an edge on something where I'm like, I haven't really explored that myself, or I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to tell you. Right? But I don't know if I can help you or hold you if you don't tell me what it is that you want to be pushing. And so with my coach, it's like we've kind of moved from, we've done relationship stuff, we've done business stuff, we've done coaching stuff. And so it's kind of like feeling into the capacity of what he can hold for me. But I choose to stay with him because he knows me, because there's so much trust there. If I was to just go, you know what, he doesn't earn enough, or like he's not a high-end coach enough, then I would have to start again. I'd have to find somebody else. I'd have to build that trust up. I could probably lose a lot of time and money by, instead of just having a conversation with him and going, hey, this is actually what I need from you. Like, have you got my back? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to hold you in this. Like, I've got your back. So the point is, number 4 is know your edge, because within the space that you're in, you can really push the boundaries of whatever it is that you are working with. So in the program Blossom, for example, maybe you come in and you're like, I'm pushing the edges of dating, and really putting myself out there and being open to more love. But maybe the next year or wherever you're at in your journey, you find that now you're in a relationship. And it's like, whoa, that comes with a whole other range of challenges and opportunities. So it's like, as soon as we get to one level in our life or in our expansion, we get to celebrate the out of that. And it's just going to come with a new layer of challenge or a new layer of opportunity to expand into. So it's like you get the thing, like you get the partner, or you get the job, or you get the money, or you become that coach, or whatever it is, and then there's always another door to go through, right? So see if you can trust and keep deciding that this space is something that you can expand into. And I really back myself to be able to expand with you or around you or hold you in this, so that you get the most out of your investment, right? And that you maybe don't waste lots of time and money exploring different things or thinking that it's not working or not getting what you want, because that's not what I want for you. And so the last thing is to let me know exactly where you're at. Okay, so I want you to tell me if something's not working for you. And then that means that we can brainstorm it, we can change it, I can fix something if there's something that I've done that has harmed you in any way. I can help change your perspective. I can essentially coach you if you need to be coached, and I can own my own shit if I need to own my own shit and I've done something that is not serving you. But let's have a conversation about it, right? Like, I had a client one time, and halfway through our one-on-one package, she just disappeared and was like, I'm I'm not into this anymore. And I was like, well, okay, where did that come from? Right? Like, I want to be here for you and show up for you, and I can't do that if I don't know what's going on. So this is where I invite you to take on the concept of telling on yourself, right? So especially if you're in a group container, because it's easier to hide, right? Tell on yourself if you're starting to have these thoughts or something's not working for you. I want to hear about it. I want to know. And also if you're in one-on-one, like, don't just disappear on me and don't come back for a session. Like, let's talk it out, because that pattern is probably the exact same pattern that is running your life and is getting in the way of you getting what you want. Okay, so it's much safer to brainstorm it and share it with me, where I'm going to hold you in love. I'm going to like listen to you, rather than trying to do that in your relationship or in your workplace or somewhere else way scarier with bigger consequences, right? So this is an invitation of how you can get the most out of your investment, your time, your money, your effort. So number one, decide and redecide that you will get exactly what you need, and that you are going to be the one that gets the success and gets your goal, right? You get to decide that this is exactly where you need to be. Number two, have a clear goal, right? So that you can get really focused on your results. Number three, know the personal patterns that you run, be willing to see them, own them, and then make change, right? To rewiring that, which is ultimately going to help you in all areas of your life. 4, know your specific edge and what you're pushing. And 5, tell me what's working, tell me what's working, but also really importantly, tell me what's not working. Okay, and let's have a conversation. You can tell me if you feel scared to tell me something, but this is actually where the growth and the magic happens, is when we open up this space of honesty and love and compassion, and we get to be witnessed in however we are showing up. So I hope that was really helpful. I really want the best results for you. I'm here for you. I've got your back. Know that this is such an open space to bring whatever it is that's coming up for you, so that you can get exactly what you need.